So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Boundary. And early morning today, I got up to watch the third day's play, technically the second day's play at the Brisbane ground at the Gabba with India versus Australia. But it turned out to be a complete antithesis where Australia not only put up some additional runs since the overnight score of 405 for the loss of 7 wickets, and uske baad, when the rain delays happened, in between that, the Aussie bowlers not only roasted the Indian batting lineup, but they also deep fried it very nicely. And just because of the rain delay, India somehow managed to finish the day at stumps with 51 for the loss of 4 wickets. And it's a long way that this test match is going to take Indians under a lot of pressure. They call it the horror at Brisbane or the comedy of errors. And here we are all to talk about the Brisbane test at the Gabba. I'm Pankaj Athavale, and I'd like to welcome our panelists for the evening. We have Dwapayan Datta and Saurav Somani to talk about it. We'll also be joined by a couple of our more friends. But Dwapayan and Saurav, welcome. You call it Dwapayan the horror show or the comedy of errors. No, there's something called as something called as deep fried kind of things. As Amit Sahil also joins us from Brisbane. So before Dwapayan, I think Brisbane, let's go to that. Before we talk of the match, before we talk of the proceedings, Sahil, please tell all our viewers what's the weather at Brisbane. ये हो क्या रहा है? मतलब बारिश आती है, जाती है. Tell us more about it, because we need to understand the weather first at Brisbane.
Hi Pankaj, hi Dwaipan, hi Saurabh. I think weather was doing its tricks since morning, right? Cloud, sun, they kept playing hide and seek in that first session. There was forecast of rain, but I think what transpired in the post-lunch session when the drizzle actually got heavier, we kind of had that feeling कि अब गेम नहीं होने वाला यार. अब अगर सब वेंट एयर सिस्टम भी लेकर आ जाओगे, बारिश अब इतना हो चुका है कि अब गेम पॉसिबल नहीं है. And
Mm-hmm.
credit to KL Rahul there, even after so many stop starts. I think there were as many as 10 or 11 stop starts when he was batting out there. And पूरा दिन के अंदर इतना stop start हुआ. I think credit to them. But weather has been playing its tricks. I just went out for dinner. मैं पूरा भीग के वापस आया हूँ. बहुत तेज बारिश हुआ अभी आधा घंटा पहले. And so it doesn't look good for tomorrow as well. And it's going to be as frustrating as it was today. Not for India, they wouldn't be complaining because that's their only hope of salvaging some sort of pride and returning with the brownie points they haven't actually earned on the field.
Yeah, I was going to say that good for India, but we are also joined by K. Srinivas Rao. Srini, the boss, welcome. And before I go to my usual suspects, Dwapan and Saurabh, I need to really ask you, in the morning after I was driving to work, and suddenly, I don't know, is this coincidence? I was playing my radio in my car, and the radio jockey said, "Ab sunenge Amar Prem ka gana," and it's like, "Ye kya hua? Kaise hua? Kab hua? Kyun hua?" That song actually played. Srinivas Rao, tell us what's happening at Brisbane with India.
No, I very briefly heard Sahil's talking about some vague sentence that he said, salvaging pride. I mean, I really would like to know what kind of pride is he talking about, and what exactly is left here to salvage. Uh, you know, uh, well, I have said this, Pankaj, from right from the start of the tournament. That unless we, as a batting unit, show any kind of confidence whatsoever to kind of stand there and put runs on board, which is exactly why we won the first Test match, because of what Yashasvi and KL Rahul managed in the second innings, right? Unless we as a batting unit show any of that kind of confidence, there is no way you're surviving in Australia. You can expect, it is fair enough that you begin to expect Jasprit Bumrah to keep doing miracles from time to time. But as a batting unit, if you are not high on confidence on that soil, in that country, be it Mitchell, be it Starc, be it Cummins or whatever. I mean, any attack, confidence is everything. And I think this Indian team is extremely low on it. I was reading those statistics when our guys tweeted Virat Kohli, 12 times out of 15. Uh, you know, what is it? I mean, it has to be a block. I'm just thinking it has to be a mental block. I really can't think of anything. I mean, I am sure as we go further in this conversation, a
Right.
lot of people are going to talk about it. But it's miserable to see what's happening, and the fact that a batsman of his caliber refuses to find answers. And this time, I'm saying, I'm not
Exactly.
saying failing to find answers. I'm saying refuses to find answers for something like that.
And yes, and it's bound, as a cricket fan, as a cricket follower, we kind of these questions do come up. But Dwapan, before we
Yeah.
talk about the Indian batting, I mean, Alex Carey, he actually added something and sort of pushed in some salt into the wounds, because 405 for 7, there was a time when the Javagal Srinaths used to come and finish off the tail, Anil Kumble's used to come and finish off the tail. You allowed Alex Carey to score 70. Australia went on to make 445 runs. I mean, what's happening? Even we really don't have the formula to clean up the tail of the opposition.
Boss, Alex Carey scoring 70 today, it's not the point. The point is yesterday he had scored a 50, he added 20 more, they added another 30 runs to lose 3 wickets. So that is not the point of conversation today. Today the point of conversation is that the performance of the Indian batting today was the worst of all the 5 innings that they have batted. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Perth was the first innings. We could say that that was their first innings. Second innings they batted well. Pink ball, we could give them the benefit of doubt that they are not used to pink ball. But today you know that you are not going to play more than one or 1.5 sessions of cricket, and the kind of shots that they have played today,
Yeah.
atrocious. None of the deliveries, barring punts, which left off the seam and it was a good ball. Barring punt, all the other three dismissals were two atrocious cricket shots. So, like it is extremely disappointing, and I hope that 100, at least 100 or 120 overs of cricket is possible over the next 2 days, so that this
Mhm.
exposition of this team of some of these underperforming seniors is complete. I
Absolutely.
really hope.
Yes. And it's very, very well pointed out. But Saurabh, the three dismissals, if you look at Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, they were by design. They were not an accident. The first ball edged through the gully for 4 runs. The next, we know you're going to get out. Yashasvi Jaiswal, thank you. गली में आप खेलने वाले हो, शुभमन गिल, thank you. Virat Kohli, 7 stump. It was by design. Look at the fantastic planning of the Australian bowlers.
Virat Kohli certainly, I think, was by design, but I don't know how they could have planned for Yashasvi to flick a leg stump half volley straight to the guy.
No, no, because that was because of the expression of Yashasvi Jaiswal. He didn't realize there was Mitch Marsh somewhere between mid wicket and square leg. I mean, that expression gave me that kind of feeling.
That if he didn't realize that, that is an even greater indictment, na, than the shot. I mean, if a batsman doesn't know where the fielders are, but that too close in fielder, वो तो
Exactly.
मतलब were they still in the field? Were they still, not switched on? I don't know what happened, but even Shubman Gill, there was no need to play at that ball at all.
Exactly.
I mean, it was a great catch, theek hai, but the thing is, it should not have been an opportunity for a great catch. That ball should have gone through to Alex Carey. It shouldn't have touched the bat. And Virat Kohli, so like, yeah, that is, I think, the subject of our podcast also. It's become a worrying pattern for sure.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, with Kohli, I think he has built his game on, you know, those forward presses and driving the ball through covers, coming forward, and then forcing the bowler to alter their length. Like, by the way he was playing when he was at his peak, he forced the bowlers to go shorter or straighter, and from where he could, pick them off more easily or defend more easily. Now that ability seems to have diminished. He's not as sure while coming forward. I mean, he's sure, but he's not as what is it, sure footed while coming
Correct.
forward, and he's not therefore he's getting beaten. He's edging, or in like Perth's first innings, he's coming half forward, and the ball is flying off the edge, and he's unable to
It's become a
adjust.
regular story. It's become a everyday
It's
story,
yeah.
And KSR, I want to ask you, but before that, Sahil, is Yashasvi now a Starc Bunny official?
Yashasvi, Starc, Pat Cummins, Rishabh Pant. That question was asked to that question was asked to Mitchell Marsh as well. He wasn't sure about the pattern, but clearly Australia have hunted well in a pack, and that group mentality which I've been talking about before the series got underway. Just look at how well these guys have been complementing each other. That wicket of Virat Kohli was taken by Josh Hazlewood, but Virat Kohli के mind में वो seeds of doubts were planted by Starc. That seventh over where he bumped him up with that bouncer, then followed it up with a delivery outside off stump, and Virat kind of let it go. उसके बाद Josh Hazlewood came and Virat Kohli को वो it wasn't a wicket-taking delivery by any stretch of imagination. The ball didn't do anything. It was a gentle loosener outside off stump, and not even outside off stump. यार छठा सातवां आठवां जितना मर्जी किल्ली गाड़ दो, इतना दूर बॉल था. मतलब वो इनिशियल ट्रिगर मूवमेंट के बाद मिडिल स्टंप पे आना शुरू हो गया है, which is more exaggerated than it has been in the past, just to get closer to the ball. But this ball was so far away that even that exaggerated trigger couldn't get in close. So that's what I've written today. I think the only Virat Kohli and that corridor of certainty. It's certain that if you pitch it there, if you bowl him there, he's gone. अब वो corridor of uncertainty no longer exists for him. It is the corridor of certainty. Get him out. Simple. वो ऐसे out होगा. अब वो defiant है, muscle memory है, या ego है, कुछ भी कह लो. But as Srini said, as Saurabh said, as Dwaipan has been saying, atrocious, and we've used all those words. But I think Virat Kohli is just not letting it go. Just not letting the cover drive go. Just forget it for one bloody innings, यार. एक इनिंग भूल जाना. एक इनिंग भूल जा, खेल के देख, क्रिकेट में और मजा आएगा. मतलब क्या एरोगेंस है कि कवर ड्राइव मार के चढ़ के, एंड दिस इज अ टिपिकल दिल्ली मेंटालिटी. हाँ, अगर एक बाउंसर मारोगे चढ़ के कवर ड्राइव मारूंगा, वो दैट आई मेरे को समझ आ रहा है फ्रॉम वेयर इज कमिंग फ्रॉम. But boss, this is not Virat Kohli, a 23-year-old or a 24-year-old. The reflexes have slowed up. The hand-eye coordination isn't where it was supposed to be, or where it was, where it was when he was at the peak of his powers. वो कम हो रही है चीजें.
Mate, you were on fire. Shrini, you're smiling. You wanted to say something. You just tell us कि I know I was watching through some videos. एक पुराना वीडियो एलन पॉटर का आपको याद होगा. He got frustrated in one match और वो स्टंप निकाल के उन्होंने उतना दूर कर दिया, सातवें के स्टंप पे ठोक दिया, बोला कि वहां डाला. Is that something that needs to be done? Or do you feel that sometimes playing simple is actually more difficult for any cricketer, be it at any level?
I mean, this is like to each his own. I mean, I'll just right now I'll just start with the Sanjay Manjrekar quote that's in front of me, and I usually don't agree with this guy, and I still don't agree with what he says. Where he says that batting coach. See, what does a batting coach do at this level on a tour as important as this one? When you're talking about a guy like a Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma, the batting coach has nothing to do. The batting coach at best will throw balls in the nets. That's all that the batting coach is there to do. Don't expect the batting coach to suddenly pour in 2 cents of gyan every time something that. Although I agree with Manjrekar's previous tweet on Virat, a rare agreement to what he said. He used the word adamance. I mean, adamant something about not trying to change his approach, right? And from there, I'll just pick on what Saurabh said, a while ago, where Saurabh was talking about the surety of he said that Virat gained, or rather like kind of the strength of Virat's batting stood on the fact that he could kind of come forward and force the bowlers to change their game plan, right? And this is the same thing that's probably now going against Virat.
Correct.
To take that a step further, probably where I'm coming from here is that I don't think this is about Virat trying to do anything different. Virat not trying to do anything different, I think is the talking point here. Where Virat Kohli is still the same. He's the same Virat Kohli. The question what we are thinking is, has the time come for Virat Kohli to try and figure out, try and understand that that one area which used to be, or which has been rather his biggest strength, is not working for him anymore. And I think you cannot solve this at the test match level. It's weird. It is stupid to think that in a series as important as this, you will suddenly expect a Virat Kohli to resolve this in the nets. That's not happening. The only way, and I think we've been saying this for a while now, the only way you can approach this is by going back to first class cricket, by playing a good season of domestic cricket, and that's where you got to go and look at whatever technical correctness you're looking at.
Correct.
But test cricket, against the likes of Starc, Cummins, Hazlewood, especially when the rest of the team is not performing, suddenly you expect Virat to correct, and that has not happened, and that's why
Correct.
that word adamance, which Manjrekar had used, kind of sticks correctly, because that is something that Virat has steadfastly refused to do, and I don't see this changing. He may get a
Very
30 odd,
exactly.
he may get a 40 odd in your next innings or whatever, on a better batting track or something. But Virat Kohli is not going anywhere unless he is taking a break. Too big a batter. Everybody probably kind of may have a view on this. My simple 2 cents here is, unless he moves away from Test cricket, he goes back to first class cricket. This is a problem that is going to continue to persist, and it's very obvious what the problem is. It is extremely obvious when you have 12 dismissals in a similar manner out of the last 15 dismissals
Exactly.
this year. We are not even talking about any other year, right?
And you have
So
mentioned, you actually underlined the word adamance, which is there in this tweet. And you're
I
right.
think that was, yeah, a rare intelligent, I mean, rare thing that Manjrekar said that one can, blindly agree with.
Exactly,
Uh,
but Srini, you mentioned something very important. You cannot solve a problem in your car, in your driving, while driving. You got to take it to the garage. You either got to
No,
park it somewhere else.
I'll just
no, but
add one I'll just add one thing
Yeah,
here. What is happening with Virat is, it's such a huge hole, gaping hole in that lineup, with an elephant of his caliber not going, that it
hmm.
is taking a toll on the rest of the batting order. You know,
Correct,
and
correct.
that's something which needs to be talked about. With at his position, at his level, Virat being kind of failing to kind of wrap his head or come to terms around things, is actually taking a toll on the
Taking a toll,
rest of
and
the
that then
batting
that's serious. That's serious. Sahil, you had a point.
no, I was just trying to mention that, we are saying that he can't really change things and all those things. But if you just look at what Steve Smith did in that first innings,
Exactly, exactly.
he kind of changed things up right before the test match. He was unfortunate. He was, out fending down the leg side in one of the innings. But he opened himself up, exposed himself to deliveries which were outside the off stump, looked very ugly to start with. I think he was very lucky to survive that Akashdeep ka initial spell. But he was defiant to stay out there and he got those runs. He opened up himself. That left foot moved slightly across towards mid wicket. Open stance से batting किया, but he found a way to be effective, right? Virat
Correct.
tried that in Perth. Virat tried that in Perth with a middle stump guard standing way outside the crease, but went back to normalcy in the second innings. I think it's in his head just to stop chasing those deliveries. एक आंख पे अगर पट्टी बांध दो कि बस बाहर का बॉल नहीं छेड़ना, he should be sorted. ऐसा भी मतलब I personally don't think ऐसा कोई technical gaping hole है उसकी बैटिंग के अंदर. क्योंकि अभी
Correct.
if he's getting beaten by incoming deliveries or missing the length or getting beaten by pace or stuff like that, nothing is happening, right? He's just fishing at deliveries outside of stump. So just stop
Yes.
doing that. I think it's more in the
लेकिन
head. To me, it looks like more in
वही
the
तो
head.
वही तो नहीं हो पा रहा ना. देखिए, ये तो 3 7 11 5 1 0 0 डायल किया, 4 1 1 17 0 वापस से किस डायल किया. Dwapan, I mean, we're talking about great players, Indian players, absolutely fine, but it's a case of survival. I fear, how will we survive even the next two tests? It's a 5 test series, Dwapan. Rain God also said enough is enough here. At least you survive for one session and then we will try and come and help you. But it's a case of sheer survival for India.
Yes, and going back to this Virat thing, if you look at this the first uh, three, 7 and 11, those were
Uh-huh.
not on similar tracks. So he is
Correct.
struggling everywhere, and not to deliver is that he is falling for here. So his game is messed up. His game is messed up, and see, many players like I'll just take one example: Ajinkya
Hmm.
Rahane. Ajinkya Rahane got an 80 and most probably a 50 in the WTC final. And
Right.
then in two tests against West Indies, he didn't do too well. And he was completely chucked out of the system. He was almost told by this selection committee, taken as Ajit Agarkar took over, that no, boss, you are not being considered.
Correct.
A guy who has scored an 80 in a World WTC final 2 months back is never considered. And these guys, some of these guys, they have been failing and failing and failing. And you give great players a long rope, but then there should be a similarity, a parity in your like you. It cannot be different rules for different people.
Correct.
If this management, this selection committee at times I feel is taking this are forced to take decisions on the basis of reputation, the way it is going, the amount of failures, the sample size of failures in different conditions. Srini is saying go back to first class cricket and he will probably get better. I am saying no, he will not get better, because in first class
Oh,
cricket probably he will get better pitches to bat on. In India, in domestic cricket, he will bat, but the moment they play on these result pitches where it is challenging, he will again struggle. He will again struggle against spin. He will again struggle against pace. His game is gone. He has to
big, big.
understand that. He has to understand that his game is gone. There has you should take a call at some time. Like
Sometimes
you
very
cannot
important.
be in
Yes.
denial.
Very important. Game is messed up, and see, if you have to face reality, Saurabh, what Dwapayan said, what Srini has said. Now, how will we survive? वो कहते हैं ना, चक्की piecing and piecing and piecing, ये कब तक चलेगा? Because there are another 2 test matches. Whole talk of WTC, keep it aside. Now, Brisbane, will we be now? If a test match 1.5 day is washed out and still we can't survive, I think this is a serious, serious problem with the Indian Test team. इतना अगले 2 दिन भी survive कर पाएंगे क्या हम?
वो तो बारिश के ऊपर है.
अरे
I
फिर
think
वही कह रहा हूँ, अरे बारिश कितना बचाएगा यार? 1.5 दिन हो गया बारिश का.
that is the only way. See, now I think yesterday I was saying hope rakhna chahiye. I said
हाँ.
at least Jaiswal and Rahul should bat for 20 overs. Then ball thoda sa soft hoga. Then the middle order can cash in. वो तो 2 ball भी नहीं, 20 overs का छोड़ दो. In second ball only they got separated. So अभी थोड़ा सा it's difficult to have hope in anything apart from the external in all this. But where I sort of disagree a little bit is that I don't think it is a straightforward thing to be able to change your game mid innings, even mid series, mid test. I think Steve Smith can do it because Steve Smith is probably one of the 2 or 3 greatest ever test batsmen. Sachin Tendulkar could do it, but
अरे नहीं,
Virat
लेकिन
Kohli, as
people
great
will
as he
disagree
is,
यार. People will say Virat Kohli is also top Fab 4 में. अभी आप पहले तो
नहीं
Steve
नहीं
Smith को गिन
फैब
नहीं रहे
फोर
थे. अभी आप
अभी वो
गिन रहे हो
फैब
उसको.
4 is not so fabulous, no. मतलब the other 3 are have still got back to fabulous, but Virat
Okay.
has not. So I mean, Virat Kohli has been a great test batsman. I think he has hit peaks that almost no other Indian batsman has hit. But he is also hitting a low that the other greats of his generation have not hit. And that's because it is not straightforward to change your technique mid game, mid
Hmm.
innings, mid test. It is
Okay.
a so much built muscle memory, and it basically. And I was having a discussion with someone else also who's a very learned cricket journalist and person, and so his contention, which I agreed with, was that Virat Kohli, for him to cut out the cover drive, is a much more fundamental change to his game than it was, for example, when it was for Sachin Tendulkar when he made that 241 in Sydney in
Exactly.
2004.
But then,
Nay,
yeah.
but it is so Sachin Tendulkar is a batsman who had all the shots and who played all the shots sort of equally. But
Hmm.
the cover drive was not such a fundamental part of his game as it is of Virat Kohli. So to change that, Virat Kohli needs to go back and basically rebuild from the ground up almost, which is very difficult to do mid series.
Nee, but
So
then
I
see, the
don't think
hopes lie. Nee, sort of the hopes lie. Srini, if you allow me, I like to sensationalize this. Breaking news: Saurav Somani says Virat Kohli is not part of Fab 4. Can I do that? I will just adding to the whole digital world. But Saurabh, ये बात तो है. Of course, I'll come to you. But let's quickly now, Sahil, tell us. जो सौरभ ने बोला hope. रेन का क्या प्रिडिक्शन है अगले 2 दिनों तक? मतलब बच पाएंगे नहीं बच पाएंगे, क्या कहता है आपका गणित?
मेरा गणित तो अब सब कुछ कहता है. मैं आज पूरा दिन वेदर रिपोर्टर बन के घूम रहा था यार. लाइक ऑल आई वाज डूइंग वाज रेन हैज कम, रेन हैज गॉन, sun has come, sun has gone. That's the kind of day we have had in Brisbane today, and it's been a very frustrating day for the Aussies at least. यार. But थोड़ा केएल राहुल का अगर आप बात करोगे, उसने एक टेम्पलेट दिखाया कि इतना डिस्ट्रैक्शंस होने के बावजूद भी क्रिकेट कैसे खेला जा सकता है.
Exactly.
How you can continue playing close to your body. You know, उसका उसका foundation was so strong today. He looked so assured. Those two cover drives which he played, I think I probably had the best seat in the house behind deep extra. मैं एकदम deep extra के पीछे बैठा हुआ था, and that's where the cover drive came. So that looked beautiful यार, the way he was batting. And if KL Rahul can't inspire other batters in the team, I think और कहाँ से inspiration लोगे आप? Because Travis Head से तो clearly आप inspire नहीं हो रहे, Steve Smith से आप नहीं हो सकते. और रही बात forecast की, अभी बहुत तेज, जैसे मैंने बताया, बारिश हुई थी. It rained a lot, and there's more forecast of rain tomorrow. Unlike the opening day where it rained a lot, there wasn't much wind blowing across the stadium, but it was very windy today. That's why you
Correct.
saw those scanty and passing showers. But अगर कल सुबह हवा नहीं चली तो कल का मैच गया, क्योंकि अभी वो चेन्नई और मुंबई वाला स्टिकीनेस मेरे को फील हो रहा है बाहर बैठ के.
Correct. And हवा तो ऐसे साइंस चली. There was a time at Square Leg when Richard Kettleborough was standing and suddenly his sun hat blew up, and he was like, "अरे मेरी टोपी कहाँ गई?" But Abhishek Paul says Australia requires 65 to 70 overs to get the remaining 16 wickets. Sahil, any chance of play happening? He answered that. But Srini, my question to you is, invariably India will have to bat. KL Rahul has done a fantastic job. I'll talk about it. But India invariably will have to bat again. Australia, if they finish, I mean, India is not even able to play 50 overs. So Australia would be happy. चलो अगले एक दिन बारिश भी अगर हो गई, still we have one more day, and that's enough to get this batting lineup. You're on mute, Trina, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry, yeah. The only place where we'll be showing any kind of confidence is the fact that letting Australia know that, even if you have half a day, we are ready to kind of, give you what you want. That's why I keep going back to the point that I made right at the start of the series, right at the start of this test match. And again, I said this at the start of today's conversation, that unless we as a batting unit show the confidence to stand there on Australian soil, we're not going to go anywhere in this series. Let's I said, the umpire said, that technically Virat is over. So, kind of technically he's done. But I mean, how do you kind of address that elephant in the room? There is no way to address it in the middle of the series, right? It's not like in the middle of the series you're going to tell Virat, like, listen, what you've done, and then let's go going. I don't think the way Indian the cricket board and our selectors, the way they address these issues, I doubt, when they come back from the tour of Australia, by then, IPL madness fever would have begun, and we would have already forgotten what has happened. And suddenly, by the time India's time to go to England would have arrived, we'd be looking at, we would have forgotten things, and probably, Virat Kohli king ko kaise nahi leke jayenge, that kind of conversation would have started. So I don't. This is not a problem for the selectors to address. The selectors can at best only drop him or pick him or whatever the selectors want to do in their wisdom, which usually we tend to have a problem with. The onus here is not nobody else. The onus here is on Virat Kohli, and he's being, again, I go back to that word which Sanjay beautifully used, adamance. His adamance is what is causing this distress to not just his own batting caliber, but to whatever is around his presence in the Indian batting lineup. It's causing a wholesome damage. And to wrap that thought up, as long as we continue to falter wherever that kind of confidence is concerned, wherever it begins to keep hurting us, in a country like Australia, we are not going anywhere, because this is a country where you let go of that upper hand that you kind of gained. You let go of it. You had gained it in Perth. Things had happened, kind of beautifully. Sahil spoke about how beautifully he had found the line going for him in Perth. I don't give that 100 in Perth any bit of importance, because it came after the Indian team. The Indian score had absolutely settled. I gave zero value. If that is the 100 on the basis of which you are going to tell me that he's one of the world's better batsmen, I'm sorry, boss. Let's end this discussion now. To me, that innings is of no importance whatsoever. That would be doing absolute injustice to what Yashasvi and KL Rahul did there. They spent time out there in the middle. They got the bowlers tired. They got into the Australian psyche. They did everything that was required before the rest of the batters could come and, kind of build on what was already on the board. Said that, the bottom line is very simple. We will continue to suffer. We'll continue to suffer as this series goes ahead. And I'm like all these fans who are asking us questions about, and Sahil is the best guy to answer. as to what the rain calculation can be like and what it looks like, and can we save ourselves the the whole mess that we have brought
Yes.
ourselves under. Can we save ourselves from it? Rain is going to answer that predicament. But with this batting lineup, with this confidence, with this Virat Kohli, no, we are not going anywhere in the rest of the series either.
अरे इंद्रदेव की भी हम कितनी प्रार्थना करें कि बचाओ. Monica gives me another question. I was going to have a last round of question, but Monica tells us, Shubman Gill an average of 17, 18 outside Asia since Gaba, not acceptable, because you're talking about Virat and everything. But Dwapan, second last penultimate question. So I wanted to take Shubman Gill. मतलब उनको भी यार थोड़ा तो कुछ समझना पड़ेगा ना. If एक नहीं तो B, it's like a three musketeers, one for all for one. It's not happening. Look at the scores.
Yes, I have been telling this time and time again. Sahil has been in this show for quite a few times. He knows that I have been constantly advocating that Shubman Gill is a number 5 batter. He is not a number 3 batter when the ball is moving around. In the first innings, when the ball moves around, he is not a number 3 batter because his feet doesn't go anywhere. He is great against spin. He dances down the track. He plays well, but when the ball starts moving around and his bat comes down from a gully region, that's why it doesn't come down straight. So there is a
Right.
technical glitch there. Even Rahul Dravid's bat also used to come down, but he had beautiful ability to meet the ball straight. That was his great ability. Shubman
Correct.
Gill doesn't have that, and Shubman Gill will keep having these problems against the moving ball time and time again throughout his career if he's adamant and continues to bat at number 3. He is not a number 3 batter when India is playing in places like England, South Africa, and Australia the way it is now. Like bounce is fine, but lateral movement is a completely different beast. And with the kind of technique that Shubman Gill has, Shubman Gill is not a number 3 batter. He is fine at 5, but not number 3.
Which is very interesting, because Introspect also sent us a comment. Gill used to score tons in Sena to prove SENA countries, as you mentioned, Wapan. But now चलिए, ये एक ना बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो गया है. सौरभ, do you see a change in the Indian batting lineup? Follow on तो होना ही होना है. Let's do something. Let's change the batting lineup in the second innings. और वैसे भी तो मैच हो ही रहा है. देखते क्या होगा. Can India do that?
But who will you change with what? Like
अभी अरे
Rahul
कुछ
and
भी है ना, अभी
Jaiswal.
जो है वो देखा जाएगा. देखो, शुभमन गिल को आप नंबर, अच्छा, यशस्वी, शुभमन गिल एंड देन केएल राहुल, और मे बी पंत ऊपर, कुछ भी करो लेकिन कुछ करो.
नहीं, जायसवाल एंड राहुल विल स्टिल ओपन आई थिंक.
Okay.
उसके बाद मतलब अभी आप विराट कोहली को बोलोगे कि यू कांट बैट एट नंबर 4, that is a whole separate conversation which might last longer than a test. तो follow on
We'll
तो
do a
छोड़ दो.
separate episode on that.
तो अभी मतलब it is practically I don't see that happening unless Rohit says कि he'll bat at 3. Because he's the
हाँ, वो
captain,
भी
so
है.
he can, and he's been an opener most of the time the last 4-5 years. So number 3, he has a at least a sort of an argument to be at number 3.
Okay.
Then Rohit goes to 3. I think Kohli stays at 4, and Gill can come at 5, as Dwapan was saying. So or Rishabh Pant, I don't know however they do it. But more than that, I don't know what change can be in the batting order. I think I would go back to what Srini said at the start, that you have to stand there and make runs. I mean, even going back one test to the pink ball test, there was a brief time period where India were actually looking good. And then Rahul was caught not knowing whether to leave or play. Kohli was caught not knowing whether to leave or play, and Gill was off strike for some 25 minutes, and then he missed a half volley and was LBW, and then it just disintegrated from there. So you cannot afford all these things against a high quality bowling lineup that Australia has. Like I think I mentioned this yesterday, there is no release bowler, so you can't let your guard down. You can't let your concentration waver for even a little bit. Ek those pitches are always going to be a little bit for the bowlers is going to be there, a little bit or a
Yeah.
lot sometimes. So you have to just stay there, like Shiri said, and score the runs. There's no other way.
Srini, chalo, I'll end up with Sahil, but Narayanan tells us the coaching staff comprised of Gambhir, Ryan, Tendishkar, Abhishek Nair, Morkel, Dilip. Can anyone explain the role of Ryan and Nair in the setup? It's time to disband the entire team system and look at for fresh faces. Okay, Sri Narayanan साहब क्या कह रहे हैं बताइए. सबको निकाल दो, सबको बदल दो पूरा मतलब पूरे 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 घर के बदल डालूंगा टाइप्स.
See, is it me? You want me to?
Yeah,
say?
yeah, please.
I mean, why are we like kind of? This is not even a discussion. I mean, I'm least bothered what the coaching staff is doing. They might as well take a tour of Brisbane.
Exactly.
You know, I don't care. What are you going to do with a Virat Kohli and a Rohit Sharma and a KL Rahul? What is a Ryan Ten Daskata or Abhishek? रोहित का बस चले तो वो अभिषेक को मुंबई की टीम में न खिलाए वो मतलब कहाँ से मतलब वेयर इज दिस कन्वर्सेशन गोइंग आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड ये मैं कब से मैं जब I was a rookie reporter. I was still a very kind of junior reporter, and Greg Chappell के time पे there was this guy in the Indian Indian team the support staff पे there was this guy called Ian Fraser. Kind of he used to kind of stand with Virendra Sehwag and get some shadow batting done, and kind of when Sehwag actually kind of got that double. I mean, too long a story, but to cut this thing like Greg Chappell talking to Virendra Sehwag, yes, I understand. Greg Chappell talking. Ian Fraser talking to Virendra Sehwag, I'm sorry, nothing is going to happen. So I don't know what people expect the coaching staff to do. I once had a very long conversation a few years ago with Dilip Vengsarkar on this, about the importance of coaching. He said, listen, after the under 19 level, there is no coaching. Cricketers are done. They are made. If you are a good cricketer and if you've kind of punched above your weight to kind of knock at the India doors at that level 19, 20, 21, you are made. After that, maybe a suggestion, maybe something like what Ravi Shastri did to Virat Kohli in 2014 when he said kind of to counter swing, come and bat a bit outside the crease. Maybe to that extent, if two experienced men talking to each other, maybe kind of something comes out of it. But don't expect coaches to get any kind of technical changes whatsoever. And especially a guy like Virat Kohli, especially at this stage of his career, I doubt he's going to even listen to a Sachin Tendulkar walking in and giving him some advice. So I'm sorry, and that is exactly what has been the bane. But I mean, I'm not mixing two. I'm just saying that.
But Srini, notorious is asking you bring back Ravi Shastri as Indian coach. I mean, that's a different story altogether.
Yeah, he's moved on. I mean, one thing happened, one thing's moved on. Move on. They just move on. I mean, you've stuck around with Gautam Gambhir. I'm not going to blame Gambhir for Gautam for. Why is Gautam Gambhir supposed to be blamed if Mr. Virat Kohli can't find his off stump? I don't really understand. What is exactly Mr. Gautam Gambhir supposed to do? Kind of sit with Virat and kind of go through his batting manual once again and kind of making something that he's not. I don't know. Coaches are more so like man managers. That's where I have a problem with Gautam.
No, you're right, absolutely, and very important words. So let me wind this up with a predicament for tomorrow. I'll come one by one. Dwapa, and rain or not, will we even survive tomorrow? What do you think? Finish the match tomorrow, Australian bowlers? Will they?
Whether it will rain or not, that I don't know. But if there is 60 overs of cricket, I think India will be following on.
नहीं मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ फॉलोइंग ऑन करेंगे 5 दिन तक जाएगा
नहीं ऑल आउट नहीं होगा 50-60 ओवर गेम होगा तो कोई एक आध पार्टनरशिप होगा बट इंडिया विल बी फॉलोइंग ऑन टुमारो इफ देयर इज 50 to 60 ओवर्स ऑफ क्रिकेट
ओके सौरभ मैं अश्विनी आई एम कमिंग टू यू रुको थोड़ा सब्र करो yeah I'm just winding up. Saurabh, what do you think?
No, I don't think India will lose tomorrow. I don't think India will lose tomorrow.
Okay.
No, not tomorrow. If there is enough play, India will lose on the 5th day. But I don't think they'll lose. I mean, losing 16 wickets in one day seems tough, even when you're in that bad form.
Okay. Mike, in Brisbane, what do you think?
I think firstly we want some cricket to happen, and if it all cricket happens today, if it all cricket happens tomorrow and day after, the kind of mindset which I've seen of this Indian cricket team, the moment they stepped out today, they look checked out. You were bowling Ravindra Jadeja to cover up the over rate. You removed Jasprit Bumrah after a couple of overs, 3 overs at max with the new ball, with that newish ball. So I think Rohit has actually checked out of this game. So I really want to see how he bats, if at all he gets that opportunity. If weather permits. Rohit to me looked very checked out of this game. Matlab, he wasn't there. Even when the DRS was happening, वो अपना hands on the hip, he was comfortably stationed in the slip. सब उसके बाद दौड़ के आ रहे थे. So he's not in that right mind space for sure, for sure. And no wonder the runs aren't coming off his bat.
That's big. That's big. किरण कुमार, any update on weather? हाँ, साहिल भैया ने बताया कि बारिश हो रही है, लेकिन कल थोड़ा खेल होने की संभावना है. Will of course tell us. Sahil will be live with his vlogs on our portal Beyond the Boundary. Of course, will be there. Srini, final word from you. कल ही मैच खत्म करना है या फिर परसों तक जाएगा?
My biggest headache is that, as it is, I'm not an early morning riser. And I keep that alarm and I'm so groggy. And, either you wake up to rain or
Yeah.
you actually day two, you woke up and said, okay, fine. I mean, not even 100 runs on board, 3 wickets gone, maybe something. And then your day is gone for a toss when you see a partnership like that. Then again, you put an alarm hoping for something. By the time you wake up in the morning, something has already happened. You say, might as well go to sleep. So this is the most disappointing thing on a tour like Australia. You make all the effort, wanting to see things, and then that's the double jhatka that you get. So at the stage where India's batting is at this point, Dwaipayan spoke about how many overs that we get and all. I would say I don't want any heartache. If we have to
Okay.
go down somewhere, at least I won't keep those alarms for myself and won't really take the this thing. I really won't go through all of that nonsense. So
Oh,
I'll
so
rather that I'll look at Sahil's message in the morning and then see what to do. Kind of.
okay, so friends, it's an alarming situation at Brisbane at the Gabba, as Srini mentioned. Alarming for India, alarming for all the fans, and hope you enjoyed the conversation. We are trying to keep it light because a lot of fans are frustrated. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Be there with us tomorrow once again on Beyond the Boundary. We'll be back post match or in the evening, but we will be there to discuss a detailed version of this BGT. Thank you, gentlemen. Dwapan, Sahil, Saurabh, and Srini. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you very much. Pankaj Akable signing off.